graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Well, I think it's time to take a shit. I think I'll Instagram it. Maybe I'll get famous. Every Facebook body digging it. Just look at me, hanging up on the stool. I think I'll post a selfie. Put it on Facebook, everybody calling me fool.
It's just a coincidence that you were talking about the Jack and Triumph show, and I'm here. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, the guy who makes all those unlistenable podcasts over at smodcast.com, and you're listening to the Two Strangers One podcast. This is podcasting.
You're listening to Two Strangers One podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes or on the Stitcher app for Android devices. Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net. Now, here's Chris Cologne and Paul Pasquillo.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers One podcast, and I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to watch Paul slowly die. Take a shot every time Paul coughs through the podcast. Because you've had this bronchitis-like cough since before we went to Comic-Con, and
no,
now
it started on Friday.
We're recording this like a week and a half later. See, there you go. Take a shot. But we were going to record an episode around the time of New York Comic-Con, but I think each fucking day we were just fucking so exhausted at the end of the day.
We got home and we're just like, oh look.
Yeah, we literally most things kind of ended around 8 o'clock or so. Then by the time we took the subway to get to my mom's house, by fucking 9, 10 o'clock, we're passed the fuck out at my mom's house. Oh, okay, Joe. How you doing, Joe? Well, I won't get into the story on how I know Joe. I'll save that for another episode. But thanks for watching, Joe. That's a story. That's a whole other story no, we won't get into that right now. We will talk about New York Comic-Con this episode.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we're not going to talk about any kind of personal business. We will talk only about professional business in this episode. Now, that being said, okay. So once again, take a shot every time Paul takes a cough. Every time Paul coughs today.
What did he say?
He's saying, Oh, Danny. Oh, what's up, Danny? See, I think it's better that we record during the day because it seems like more people are interacting. We're not like up against Monday Night Raw and Monday Night Football and well, no. What other shows are on Monday night? The Flash and Supergirl or whatever. So, Gotham. So it's probably better that we're recording during the day. So guys, feel free. Okay. Joe says tell the story anytime. I will. It's just right now I will just keep that private for now.
Joe,
okay.
just like I said, Facebook me, and I want that one thing from you. I want that one thing. You know what it is. Just give it to me.
Okay.
So I can blackmail this fuck.
No. All right. So here we are. We actually survived New York Comic-Con. We basically lived together. We lived together for 4 days, pretty much.
Yeah, I wanted to kill you every single
You were in a
day.
car with me for basically 12 hours. Ugh. The 6-hour drive down to New York City and a 6 hours drive back.
With me?
You slept on my mom's couch, and I'm like, okay, and then my mom's like, this is the first time and the last time. Because I was like, Mom, I'm bringing a friend down to the New York Comic-Con or whatever, and she's like, the first time and the last time. So I don't know if we'll ever be doing it again, or maybe we'll make some sort of arrangement. I'll tell my like, Mom, please, we have no other place to stay. But your first Comic-Con, and so we stood in my mom's house.
We stood the whole time at his mom's house.
And oddly enough, you slept on the couch, I slept on the floor.
Yes.
In my own mother's house, the apartment I was born and raised in, the apartment I lived in, and I slept on the floor like a fucking dog.
The bedroom that he used to live in was so filled of stuff that he couldn't sleep in there.
Yeah, because my mom has become hoarder's not the right word, but my mom. When my mom sees stuff that's on sale, she will buy it, and when but that she'll also buy stuff that doesn't expire, like non-perishables and stuff like that, And so my old bedroom has become like a storage. If there's ever a fucking apocalypse, I'm going to my mom's house because she will have supplies. If you want fucking cornflakes.
She's also on the 6th floor, so
I try not to give my mom's address, please. But
I didn't say where she lives. I just said she's on the 6th floor. Jesus.
But that being said, if you want to eat cornflakes after the apocalypse, my mom's house is a place to go. Boxes and boxes and boxes of cornflakes. But that being said, but you know, my family, we showed our hospitality. You know, you had home cooked meals every day. That was pretty awesome. Pretty much
Stacked to the fucking ceiling.
when you find and Paul, and as like much people who visit my mom's house, like when I was growing up, my friends would come over to my mom's house and like you know, basically, Chris, I understand why you're such a fat fuck, because my mom likes to cook. And
nah, see, I didn't say that, but yes, but yes, there is that problem. Yes.
Now, before we get into the actual like itinerary of the things that we were doing, you had the full New York City experience. I mean, I know you said you went there when you were a kid, but you know, in those 4 days in New York City, we took the subway, we took the bus, because for some reason, since it was like holiday weekend, the fucking subways decided to stop. Both fucking trains that we needed to take, or the two closest trains to my mom's house, decided that they're not going to have service in downtown Manhattan that weekend.
Stupid.
You know, the D and the F train, which fucking just kills me. So we ended up having to take a bus, and then the bus schedule was fucked up, so we ended up having to take a cab, and it was the stereotypical, you know, and I just be real, it was an older Indian guy, and I hailed one cab, and I was only going to get in that cab, then another cab like pulled up in front of him and tried to get us to get on, and this guy was the most aggressive driver in the world. I love the fact that, you know, he was like, and as we were trying to get from where, because it was also raining, that's why we jumped in the cab.
Thank God.
We were, while we were trying to get to Javits, the Jacob Javits Center where they were having New York Comic Con, the police had blocked off a bunch of streets. So he kept trying to like turn to make a turn, but then the cop said, no, you can't go this way. Then he drove a little faster and tried to make another turn. And then, you know, basically went all the way around. But, you know, you got the full experience. Then we were having issues with the train on the way home one day. Well, it's 2 days. And then one day we kind of walked through Times Square. And then the second day...
We did it again
because you were like, I want to go this way. And I'm like, you just want to go through Times Square, don't you?
No.
You wanted to do the touristy thing.
Chris is like, oh, let's, you know, we're going to get here, we're going to go here. And I'm like, no, you're too confusing. Let's fucking do what we did yesterday.
Yeah.
So,
but you got a taste of Times Square while we were there. Because, I mean, we really were so busy that, like, we really couldn't do anything else. Like, even though, like, we were down in New York City, I couldn't see, like, oh, let's go see this and let's go do that. No, fuck that. By the time we were done at the end of the day, we were fucking passed out. And now you can see why Matt, our usual cameraman, you know, I was, not that I complained, but I said Matt likes to hang out in the fucking press room. And it's like, because it's so exhausting. I think even in the 4 days that we were there, we didn't see all of New York Comic Con. We didn't. Like, we barely...
I honestly tried to go down on the vendor floor, and I probably didn't even see half of it. That's how huge it is.
Yeah. And it was, and they rearranged a couple of things. They moved the Artist Alley. Artist Alley used to be like this whole little offshoot of the building. Then they moved it downstairs. Of course, you know, there's the big main stage. There were areas where, and that was, I don't want to say it was different this year, but where you had to swipe your badge if you wanted to go to see, anything at the main stage, the night before. I mean, the day of, I mean. And we had, of all the days, we got there one day, we got there early, and we actually got on the line where they were giving out the cool sci-fi bags. The Sci-Fi Channel had a big presence at New York Comic Con. They were giving away the bags. So luckily we got there one day, and basically I love, and this will comes into a story later on, the people who worked at the Javits Center, like the locals or whatever, didn't give a fuck. They're like, take as many as you like. You know, it's basically, and it's sort of like, the more you take, the less I have to fucking carry. So like, there was a guy literally like with a bin of sci-fi bags, and I must have grabbed like 4 or 5, and I took bags and stuffed it in another bag.
That made no sense either, because, so, on the 4th floor, when you come up on the 4th floor, Sci-Fi had a bunch of shit there. They were giving out free shirts, they were giving out free candy.
I
think they were doing free face painting too, if I remember. So all that shit was there, but the bags were down.
Yeah, the bags they gave out
on the basement floor where the main stage is, and I'm just sitting there going, okay, all right.
Yeah, it was weird because Sci-Fi had basically on I guess the 4th level or the 3rd level.
The press room's on the 4th level.
So the Sci-Fi was on the 3rd level because not everyone had access to the 4th level, only press and stuff like that. But press and like
it's really weird.
And they had these new versions called Pro Passes, which I never fucking heard of. Like that's a new thing this year.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
I guess that they got a chance, but the media area, they actually made more use of the media, the press room. But they actually had like little mini panels in there and stuff like that. It was very interesting, but luckily, I mean, it got crowded in the press room, but it didn't get too crowded. It didn't get overcrowded. And hopefully they'll keep it like that, because the years before that, it was always like nobody was up there. So Sci-Fi and the third level they were giving out. You could watch the guys silkscreen shirts for you, and they had like a billion fucking gray shirts, and they silkscreen the Sci-Fi logo, and just as SYFY, and but of course they didn't have any fucking American sizes. It was all I think extra large was the biggest size. Like I couldn't get a 3X, a 4X, or 5X shirt, so I wasn't gonna wait online. But I mean, literally, like if you could stand in line, they would give you a shirt. So I did get a shirt eventually, but not a shirt that fits me, but I just wanted to fucking have it. But that was at a point where they had done so many shirts that were just giving them away. But then again, they was giving them away in the first place, but people were waiting online. They were giving out the bags, free candy. So once again, Sci-Fi had a huge presence at Comic-Con. All right, so on Thursday, and Thursday was I don't want to say the weakest day, but traditionally Thursdays are like the least important days. No one really cares about Thursday, and it kind of showed.
We did have something on Thursday. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we had. We'll get to that in just a moment. But I mean, like we got there. We didn't get there late, no. But we didn't get any lanyards. Usually, there's lanyards all over, and usually, like you saw, like the way Friday, Saturday, and Sunday were.
Oh yeah, there was just a shitload those days. Yeah.
They would get. They literally had like giant like fish tanks at the front door filled with lanyards. But on Thursday, no lanyards. Also Thursday, no programs. Once again, they had stacks of programs, and you couldn't, I happen to I only got a program on Thursday because someone had obviously just left one off to the side, and no one was claiming it, so I just picked it up. So it's weird how, for people who only had like a Thursday pass, like they didn't get a program, if you got there late, you didn't get a program, you didn't get a lanyard, which I think everybody should at least get, for going to Comic-Con, if you're going to go just the Thursday. Now, if I keep the intro that I had created for this particular episode, it's the Punisher commercial for Netflix that has Metallica's One playing in the background. But there was some controversy because of the Vegas shootings. There was supposed to be like some sort of Punisher reveal at New York Comic Con. But with that, with security and right, Paul, the fucking security was on point. There were fucking bomb sniffing dogs.
Oh yeah.
There were state troopers. There was something online about like cops being undercover, like cops dressing up in cosplay or something like that. Or
yeah, there's a picture online. You could probably look it up. One of them, it shows one of them dressed up as
Pennywise.
I think the older version, not the one from this movie, but they were dressed up on the subway, and I guess that's what they do. They're undercover on the subway all day long. But
yeah, it was. They were. You see like dogs like with fucking flak jackets on and shit like that. But it's funny because Paul just wanted to pet the dog. Paul saw the dog. I want to pet it, and then luckily the guy kind of came in our direction. Paul's like, "Can I pet it?" It's like Paul just wants to pet. It was like a golden retriever, right?
Yeah, it was an awesome. I was like,
it's a service dog.
But,
but yeah, security was on point. But with the Punisher thing, now this was in the rules. Because we get emails months in advance. No weapons.
We're still getting fucking emails.
Oh yeah. Now that and I've learned this in the past couple of years. Once you're on the mailing list, you're gonna get mail. You get mail all year. Then they're like gearing down from New York Comic Con, gearing up for next year's Comic Con. So you couldn't bring any kind of like weapons. If you had anything that even resembled a gun, it had to be made out of like foam. You couldn't even they didn't even want people bringing in like plastic. Plastic, because technically a Glock is made out of plastic also. I mean, you could bring something that looks like a toy, that looks like fucking orange, but it's a real gun. So it had to be made out of foam. This year was the first year that they actually had metal detectors or X-ray, metal detectors and X-ray scanners. So if you had a bag, and I guess if you had like a big bag, you had to run it through the detector. Luckily, like, whoever's working an X-ray detector, like I brought food, and I think generally they didn't. Every year I've gone and I've had food, like they looked in my bag, because I think you got fat fucks like me, people with diabetic or something like that. some people need food, and it's you're not going to force them to buy a $12 fucking slice of pizza or $12 fucking Philly cheesesteak, which was a literal,
Jesus Christ,
a literal thing.
I'm literally down there like, oh, what should I eat today? And like, I think that was on the Saturday because we were so busy that we didn't know what time we were going to be home. And like, you're like, oh, go get a Philly cheesesteak, and I go over there, I'm like, fuck that, $12.50. I'm like, fuck that. Like, even the hot dogs are like $5, but I'm kind of used to that because it's around the same price as the movie theater charges, so it's like, whatever.
Yeah. Now, the rumor was that Netflix was going to release Punisher right after New York Comic Con. Like, they were going to have some sort of thing going on at Comic Con, and then sort of like a surprise reveal that, hey, it's going to be... But I think just to kind of separate themselves, especially with all the craziness about Vegas, and to just show that obviously he's going to have a lot of gunplay, they said, let's fall back for a couple of weeks. Let's, So it's still like undecided on... To the best of my knowledge, I don't know if they've officially announced when Punisher's coming to Netflix, but they pushed it back.
Waited, yeah. They'll probably wait a couple months and then do it, honestly.
Sorry. And so on Thursday, we did the DC animated movies 10-year anniversary. We did the press junket and we went to the actual panel where, and it's weird to think they've been 30 fucking movies over the past 10 years. And it feels like, it feels like it's been longer, but I guess not. And I can't believe how many movies it was in such little time. All the ones, Batman and Son, Batman and Bad Blood, Assault on Arkham, Superman Doomsday, all these, 30 fucking movies. And I believe they said they were going to release it as a
huge box.
A huge box set. 30 fucking movies. And one thing anyone who listens to the show knows that the DC animated movies are fucking off the chain. They're fucking really good. And when Marvel's good with the live action, the DC animated movies are fucking awesome.
DC's coming around. I mean, their TV series, at least I will give them at least like what's the word? Like
credit?
No. Like graphics wise, what's the
special effects?
Special effects, yeah. Like that wise, like they do an excellent job on that. I got to give them props for that. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I think DC is actually doing pretty well in the live TV show aspect as well. I don't know. We'll see with Justice League how it is. But there again, Joss Whedon apparently.
Joss Whedon.
Josh?
Joss. Joss. There's no H in it.
Whatever. Josh. I'm just going to say Josh. Whatever. Fuck it. I mean, he's got his hands on that, so we'll see what happens, what he was able to do. Because the trailers look a little bit different. The last trailer looked a little bit different than what we've seen.
Yeah, it looked a lot more lighter.
Yeah.
I just, as of today, as we're recording this, I just posted a picture of the poster. The poster looks very bright, as opposed to the one they've been working with for the past year now, where it's kind of dark. This one, it's very bright. You can see everyone nice and clear. It doesn't look muddy or anything like that. So yeah, I think they're lightening the mood. And once again, not to veer off from New York Comic Con, but I believe they have Danny Elfman doing the soundtrack. And Danny Elfman is the gentleman who gave us the original, Batman, na 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 na.
Yeah.
So they said that he's going to work that into the movie, the traditional, or should I say, the '89 Batman theme, because he wrote the fucking thing, and he is going to. The John Williams Superman, dun, 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 dun. Oh no, wait, that's Indiana Jones. Wait, how does the Superman theme go? The traditional Richard Donner Superman theme, written by John Williams. Danny Elfman is going to try to work into, or it's going to be like a modified version.
It's like dun, 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 dun,
dun, dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I don't know. I confused my John Williams for a second. I started doing Indiana Jones. So yeah, they're gonna put those in there. Which, shows a lightheartedness, the lighthearted Batman, lighthearted Superman. So, I think they're trying to lighten the mood, which I'm fucking all for. Now, with that, this particular interviews, we did the round tables on this one. We didn't do video interviews yet. But the big get was Bruce Timm. Bruce Timm. If you liked Batman the Animated Series, if you liked any of those cartoons from the 90s into the 2000s. That style, that the futuristic retro, like I said, the first one foremost was the Batman the Animated Series. Then it kind of bleeded into the Justice League, and there was a Superman solo cartoon all of that style of DC animated movies is all because of Bruce Timm. That's like Bruce Timm is like the master fucking creator behind that. So we did the round table. So I think we were able to ask like two questions or so, and then the other people around the table. One thing I didn't like is that the people around the table, one, they weren't talking loud enough because like I had my recorder going, and then like they were, quite frankly, I feel like they were asking stupid fucking questions. You know, and then like when they have like people like getting into whole conversations with like Bruce Timm, and it's like he's not there to get your fucking input on fucking, you know, what he should do. You know what I'm saying? The man has his career. He doesn't need any fucking input from, you know, some fucking asshole with a blog. But you know, he seemed like an intense kind of guy. I don't want to, rude isn't the right word. He was just fucking very intense. Then the other people that were there was a gentleman by the name of James Tucker. He's produced more of the more recent DC animated movies. I've seen him at the past like 2 Comic-Cons. You know, he's not much of a talker. You know, I guess that's why he's more of a producer. You know, but you know, obviously the guy obviously has a lot of pull. Alan Burnett, which is a producer of a lot of these movies. They said he was officially retired. Like, you know, just he loves the work so much that he actually came to Comic-Con because, you know, people are going to have questions for him and stuff like that. So he came out. And then Jim Krieg, Krieg, was a writer and also producer for a bunch of these movies. He was the most fun, I feel. Jim Krieg was the most animated and funny and interesting. And
didn't we have Jason O'Mara the first day too?
Oh, shit, I forgot about that. Yeah, we had Jason O'Mara and was that the Gotham by Gaslight? Was it the Gotham by Gaslight?
That wasn't Gotham by Gaslight. That was the first one. Was the 10th anniversary.
Yeah,
or it was one of those, but it had I can't think of her name, but she the woman that does the voice of Wonder Woman.
Well, yeah. Oh, but
she was there too.
I'll look it up, but she's done Wonder Woman a bunch of times. She does the voice for Gamora in the Avengers cartoon. She does the voice of she does a bunch of voices. It's Wendy something or other, and that's sad that I forgot. Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, the 2 voice actors, Jason O'Mara and Wendy something or other, and I feel bad for not knowing her name. All right, then you went to Funimation and Viz panels that day.
So I kind of talked about this on the podcast, on the Toonami Faithful podcast, which will be coming out here in the next week or so. Hopefully, depends on if I edit it or not. Basically, the panels were on Friday. The Dragon Ball Super panel was on Friday. The Viz panel, I believe, was also on Friday. Nothing huge to know.
Nothing groundbreaking.
Nothing groundbreaking. It was interesting. I mean, you were in the Super panel with me, so it was interesting just to see.
Yeah, let me tell you, and I mean, when we put out the videos of the interviews, we went to the Dragon Ball Super panel. Now, you know, you and I got there an hour and 15 minutes ahead of time. And the general rule is get there about an hour ahead of time. We got there I got there an hour and 15 minutes ahead of time, and the line was already capped off. The line was already full. You know, thanks to your connections, we got in the room anyway. But I mean, it shows that even when I got there at an hour and 15 minutes ahead of the fucking panel, people had already shown up before me and filled the line. And this was one of the bigger panel rooms. That particular room, I think 1810, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the bigger panel rooms, and it was packed. They let us in, and there was what they call standing room only. There, we were all kind of just, a bunch of extra people, and I think it was press and stuff like that. The fans were sitting down, and I'm pretty sure there were press amongst that group, but like press were standing in the back, and we were like 3 deep. You know what I'm saying? Like about 3 rows of people extra standing, and I think, I don't think we were fighting any kind of fire. There was still a walkway ahead of us. Like, there was still enough room for people to walk and stuff like that. And the room was fucking packed for the Dragon Ball Super panel.
Well, and part of the thing, what happened was I originally had planned to come down to New York Comic Con because Toonami was supposed to be there. As a matter of fact, Toonami, not just Toonami, but Adult Swim was supposed to have a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, that just like, oh no, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what? Even John Galbo, who I finally met for the first time.
Yeah, big shout out to John Galbo.
Was like, I don't understand why there's no Adult Swim stuff here today. So, I was supposed to be down there for that, but that never materialized. So, as I say in the other podcast, I basically, Thursday, because we had some time after the interviews that we did, I had some time to sit, talk to at least talk to these people and go, hey, can I have some time from you, like Funimation and Viz? Can I have some time to talk to you? I don't need like an hour or anything. I just want to talk to you about some things. Part of that conversation, like I said, I can't talk about, but the other part of the conversation was, can you guys start talking about Toonami? Can you start not talking about Toonami, but tweeting, when Toonami's on, they don't tweet about Toonami. They don't sit there and they don't go, okay, JoJo's on at this time, or Hunter x Hunter's on at this time, make sure you watch it. That's the kind of thing I need. Because when I say I need, basically, those of you that kind of do follow what I do a little bit, the @Toonami News account on Twitter basically tweets out every time a show's on, or until I fall asleep and forget to do it. That happens, trust me. So basically what I basically asked them for their help, because the problem is I can do this enough, but I think that they can do it a lot more as well. And I've never really had that conversation, and a lot of them were very, very, open to that. So, they agreed in concept to do that. I'm actually probably going to email them today and just make sure that they put out some tweets about it. So it's really interesting because this previous weekend, all of a sudden, Dragon Ball Super's numbers and ratings jumped up, and I went, because I noticed that they posted something on I don't know if it was one of their Facebook Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super Facebook pages, and I'm just sitting there going, okay, maybe that worked. It didn't work for the airing that I wanted it to work for, because I wanted it to work for the 11 o'clock airing, not the 8:30 airing, but it might have actually worked in for at least Dragon Ball Super. So if that is the case, and that it does start to reap benefits, that's going to be a good thing. Because I don't know, I just think that people don't know that Toonami's on, or that when Super's on, or whenever all these other shows are on. So that's pretty much what I was trying to do at New York Comic Con. So hopefully that'll happen a little bit more. I noticed on your list you talk about your these. Let me explain this before he talks about this. Me and Chris would be doing stuff, and I would be walking, and all of a sudden Chris disappears. I turn around, and here's this fuck taking a picture with some random dude that I have no idea who the fuck it is.
Well, that's okay. So we're going to New York Comic Con, and Toonami and anime is your thing, and comic books, DC comic books in particular, are mine. And so the first one we were walking by, and I saw Grant Morrison. And for those who don't know who Grant Morrison is, he was the first one to write I think they had used the name before Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
But he was the first one. He wrote the original Arkham Asylum comic book. He had written it, Arkham Asylum: A Serious House on Serious Earth, which is, or on Serious Ground, or whatever. Excuse me. Which, for anyone who's ever read that Arkham Asylum, is a fucking twisted, dark fucking story. And, he's a brilliant guy. He's written, he's written for this comic book called The Invisibles, oh my God, Doom Patrol. The guy is a mad genius. He's crazy, but he's also incredibly smart. So I saw Grant Morrison. I'm like, fuck this. I'm going to stop it. And the whole thing is that, yes, he's a rock star to comic book fans, but he was kind of just walking through Comic-Con without anybody bothering him. And so I said, Grant Morrison, I didn't scream it, but I was like, hey, I have a copy. I actually have an autographed copy of his book. I mean, I'm assuming it's because I bought it at Comics Etc., which you'll probably hear an ad for soon. But I bought a copy, and they have, according to them, it was a legit autographed copy. So I told them I read his book. I told them, he does this whole thing about, it was called Chaos Magic. He's a brilliant fucking writer. In particular, I mean, of course, we listen to podcasts, but he did 2 episodes. I think he did more, but his 2-parter episode on Kevin Smith's Fat Man on Batman is incredibly fucking awesome. And he tells this whole thing how he trips on acid or mushrooms or something, and fucking aliens from another fucking planet visited him, and they were just basically silver balls floating in the air. It was crazy. So Grant Morrison's a fucking genius. And so, while Paul's kind of just walking, I'm like, fuck, I was Grant Morrison. I'm like, I wanted to grab him before like anybody else could. So I got a picture with him, but then, where he was down by the DC basically takes over a whole like corner of the Jacob Javits Center. So he was walking towards the area where they were going to interview him. So I couldn't talk to him. And the whole thing is he generally, and that's one thing I'm going to love, is that it felt like he generally wanted to talk. And like, people were like, oh, Mr. Morrison, you got to come this way. So that was that. And then when we were up in the press room, fucking Todd McFarlane, creator of Spawn, the modern day Spider-Man, Spider-Man was kind of, I don't want to say corny, that's not the right word, but Spider-Man was a little golden age, corny 50s and stuff like that. When Todd McFarlane took over Spider-Man, he's the one that gave Spider-Man all the funky, like a million jillion webs on the page. I'm pretty sure he's the guy that invented like the webbing under the arm so he could like glide and stuff like that. He's the one that all those crazy moves, like when Spider-Man's standing there like with his hands, like his knees are like up by his fucking head and stuff like that. All those crazy dynamic poses were because of Todd McFarlane. So, he revolutionized Spider-Man. He created fucking Spawn. I mean, the whole thing of Image Comics was, his crew, which were basically guys he stole from DC. Jim Lee he didn't steal them from DC. DC stole them from Image. Excuse me. But, Greg Capullo, Jim Lee, all these guys who are known to do incredible line work and beautiful, beautiful pictures. They got their start in Image and then DC stole them. Let's just be honest here. And so, Todd McFarlane. So I see Todd McFarlane. Once again, Paul's there. And I fucking just, oh, look, Todd McFarlane. Can I take a picture? And I was talking to him for a couple minutes. And another asshole just came up and just started talking to him. And I didn't get a chance to finish my story. But I said, you know what? I'm not gonna bother him too much. Ran into Hal Rudnick of the Screen Junkies. And this was that Thursday. And the Andy Signore controversy hadn't really hit the media yet, so I think that's why it's funny he was there Thursday and you didn't see him any other days, and so I wonder if maybe the controversy he didn't want to show his face. I mean, not that it's his coworker, it's not really, or it might even be his boss, but still, like, I'd still show my face. If Paul was fucking sexually harassing women, you're still gonna see me, goddamn. Probably be the other way around, but but then again, I guess just for less headache. I doubt Screen Junkies were only going to go to New York Comic Con for one day, but I did run into Hal Rudnick. There was a Mr. Robot party, but it was way too fucking far. For some reason, I thought it was going to be right next to the Javits Center, because the one thing is that the Javits Center and New York Comic Con in general has done this year is that they'll have events a couple blocks away, or if you want to go to the Hammerstein Ballroom, they had things in Madison Square Garden. A lot of the stuff was within walking distance, but the fucking, like, if the Javits Center is on 34th Street or whatever, 30-something street, the fucking Mr. Robot party was like on 56th Street, and I wasn't going to take a cab, and I kind of wanted to go, but I was like, fuck it. I saw a bunch of Twitter videos of people who did go to the party. It was supposed to, in their show, they have this thing called the E-Corporation, E-Coin was a thing, like Bitcoin. But then the revolutionaries from the show, F Society, all the people in the masks show up in the party. So it looks like you're at a party for E Corp, but then the rebels show up and take over the party. So, I mean, it was cool. I'm a little upset that I missed it, but it's not that important.
They had Star Trek. They had the whole fucking Star Trek panel off of New York Comic Con too. It was Hammerstein Ballroom?
Yeah, Hammerstein Ballroom. They had Comic Book Men had their panel there. Star Trek, the Orville, Stand Against Evil, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it? No, I'm sorry, it's not Stand Against Evil. Ash vs. the Evil Dead all had their panels at the Hammerstein Ballroom.
We were so busy that we couldn't even get down there.
Yeah, it's good that they're expanding for fans who either couldn't get to the con or something like that, but it's also like, once again, you can't see it all. We didn't leave the Javits Center. No. All 4 days we were there, and there was tons of shit going on elsewhere. Once again, you can't take it all in those 4 days. All right, let me just see something real quick before we... Okay, so we're going to go, we'll take a break, and we'll be back with the next 3 days, and more dick and fart jokes.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc., 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Did you ever see a film at such a young age it left you traumatized with cinematic wounds? Necrophilia. It's a dead issue, man. Don't push it. Cinema Psyops is a weekly podcast documenting an ongoing experiment on the mind of an unwilling test subject.
No one should have to watch this movie.
Oh, no one should have to watch this?
No one should have to watch this movie.
Surprisingly, it's not a topic that a lot of people really want to tackle.
I'm shocked, prudes.
I know, really.
Right?
It's the next sexual frontier that no one wants to explore.
I am, in the most sincerest of senses, disappointed in you.
It takes a powerful goddess like Connie, jam her arm down the monster's throat and kill it. Oh, I'm still tripping out over that. Even as a kid, I was like, I gotta find a girl like that. Every week, I get a new look of disappointment that I never thought I could get out of her.
Unimaginable. At 12 years old, you should not be watching this movie.
Obviously.
At 13, you should not be. 14, you shouldn't be. I'm not entirely sure even 17-year-olds should be watching this.
Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean that you have the right to demand that it doesn't exist. Watching this film again, I had all of this like little nerd glee with everything that kept
little
popping
history
up.
all popping up
absolutely.
at you.
So I totally loved this film.
Hey, I know why you couldn't see that. It's because your brain's warped from watching this shit at 12 years old.
Yeah, this is a rough movie. I told you ahead of time when we were getting ready to do it that it was
How
going to be a
did you
rough
watch
one.
this shit at 12?
Because physical wounds heal, cinematic ones don't. Listen to Cinema Psyops.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. Pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-n-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com. And now for listeners of Two Strangers, One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase. And we're back. All right, so on Friday, and I can't believe I forgot about these other notes. I wanted to finish Friday before we went to the break. So Friday, I'm sorry, not Thursday. Oh yeah, so on Thursday, Paul had a fucking bad headache. There goes the cough again. Paul was feeling like shit, and there is a thing called con crud that people get. I mean, you're in a room with 50,000 people. Fucking.
I don't know what it was, but like we're sitting in the middle of these interviews with these Warner Brothers people, and all of a sudden, and it started when we first. It started before we got to New York Comic Con. We kind of got some sleep before we got down there. Mm-hmm. Chris was like, "I'm gonna get some sleep because I drove all night," which is fine.
Well, I've been up for like 24 hours. I need to get like 2-3 hours of sleep.
He was a little grumpy, but that's fine. So we what was it? We get down there and my head is just like 1 minute I have a fever, and then the next I'm okay, and the next minute I have a fever, and the next minute I'm okay. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So right after we get this interview done, I'm like, fuck it, let me go down to that newsstand.
So you had, but you had, you wanted ibuprofen or something like that.
Well, I took some ibuprofen, and then I'm like, well, no. So I didn't have anything, so I was just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna go down and get, and I saw some Tylenol.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. So we had split up at that point, and I went to the 25th anniversary. It was the 30th anniversary of the 10-year anniversary of the DC animated movies, and after the panel, I see a sign for the first aid station. I'm like, all right, Paul feels like shit. let me go get him some ibuprofen. And, so I go to the first aid station. Now, in this day and age, with fucking legalities and stuff like that, you can't just go ask for ibuprofen and walk away. They were like, oh, the person has to take it, has to be here. I said the ibuprofen's for my girlfriend and she's online buying food. So that being said, I go to the first aid station, and I told them, I used to be EMT and all this other nonsense, and I'm kind of chatting them up, and they give me the ibuprofen. So as I leave the first aid station, it's kind of backstage, and I go and I run into fucking Tara Strong. Now, I know later on in the con we were going to interview Tara Strong, but in the email they sent us, just don't ask for selfies, don't ask for autographs, all this stuff. So I see Tara Strong. I mean, she's with a couple other people in the backstage area, and I'm like, oh, Tara, can I take a picture with you? So I took a picture with. Then the funny thing is that she goes, where's the autograph station? Like, where's the autograph? And thankfully I knew what the fuck was going on. I'm like, oh, you're in this section. The autograph area is in that direction, and I kind of pointed her in the general direction. So at least I was kind of, I asked for a selfie, but at least I was also kind of helpful before she went and fucking winded around. So she was there. She was doing autographs and pictures, every day. I think one that's like not going to say the most controversial, but everyone's talking about is fucking Mark Hamill charging $250 for a picture, and I think like another $80 for like an autograph, or it's some like he was just charging a ridiculous amount. And look, he's Luke Skywalker, but still,
I didn't think about it at the time though. But I think because he wasn't part of the WB, like all the interviews there.
Yeah, because we thought we were going to do we were doing press for Batman the Animated Series 25th anniversary, and even though his name wasn't officially in the emails and the roster and all this stuff, we thought, you know what? You got Kevin Conroy, who was the voice of Batman. You got Tara Strong, the voice of Harley Quinn. Why wouldn't Mark Hamill come and be a part of it? Because he was the voice of the Joker. But then again, the guy's making $250 for someone to go say cheese, click, and that's $250 in his pocket. So I don't blame him for not being there. They never said he was going to be there. It would have been nice, but then again, for making $250 for fucking 30 seconds worth of work, bring some people into a room, take a picture, let them move out of the room. I don't blame him.
What was it? What I was trying to say was I think that he probably wasn't able to do that because of Disney, because they probably said no interviews. Doesn't even matter if it's something that's just going to be restricted to whatever.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Because Star Wars, they're probably like, no, we're not even going to take this chance. You're not allowed to do this.
Yeah, that probably makes a lot of sense. Like, and especially now that like his big movies literally. Now it's about a month away or 2 months away, whatever. But it's so right around the corner.
By the way, from that last trailer, I don't think he's gonna die. I think he's gonna be like. I get the sense he's gonna be like one of those crazy like
hermit
old men or something. Like, oh my god, I haven't seen this power before. I've seen this power once. I wasn't scared. Now I am.
Yeah, I think, he saw the power in Kylo Ren when Kylo Ren burned down the whole fucking Jedi temple.
Yeah.
So he needs to chill the fuck out. So Mark Hamill wasn't at it, but I mean, it was so weird because of all the autographs, he was the most. And once again, I understand why he was the most, but it was just sort of like $250, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't spend that much.
I can't knock the hustle. But then also on Friday, I think we were getting ready to go to the Viz panel. But we ended up going to, it was for a little web series called Explosion Jones, and it has Michael Madsen, Carl Weathers, Vivica A. Fox, and
that's right, yeah, we were in that panel waiting for the Viz panel.
Yeah, and it's funny because the panel wasn't full, and I mean, and I've seen a bunch of and it's on the Go90 app, the same people who did the Transformers Combiner Wars thing. It was on the Go90 app, and I watched it online, and it's not bad, it's just kind of corny. It's literally each episode's like 3 minutes, so I saw like 5 episodes in a row. So it's not a bad show, but give it a shot. Explosion Jones on the Go90 app, or online in general.
Or whatever.
So on Friday, it's funny, I don't have too much notes for Friday. I met Chris Gore, for people who remember Attack of the Show. He did the DV Doomsdays, the DV Doomsday bit, and he was on it for a while. He's part of FilmThreat.com. He was, I think, the creator of Film Threat magazine. And I had spoken to him because he was doing a Kickstarter for a book or something that he was writing. And so I had said he had sent me like an email spam sort of a deal, and I wrote back the email just to be an asshole. I didn't realize I was gonna actually get back to him. I said, my Kickstarter almost got suspended for sending email like this or whatever, and he's like, no, this is actually Chris. So like I felt bad because I thought I was being a dick to like a robot, you know what I'm saying? And then he actually wrote back. He goes, no, it's actually me. This and that about the Kickstarter, but he was kind of cool, and it's funny because I didn't actually support the Kickstarter. But, he came and he said hi to me, gave me a sticker for his website and stuff like that. So I got to give him points for I was an asshole to him and he was still fucking nice to me. The Tick, Amazon Prime had a big presence at Comic-Con, promoting their 2 shows, Lore, which is like a horror anthology series, which I think it's out now. I think it came out on Friday the 13th. And the only reason I don't know too much about it is because there was always so much of a line. There was one day where it was actually down. I think Thursday night it was down. And then the other times I just hadn't had a chance to get to it. But then they also had the Tick, which we'll get into more later. The Tick had what they call the Danger Boat. It was sort of this. It took up the whole fucking corner of the Javits Center, where you could go on this boat and it's sort of like this artificial intelligence. There's obviously someone behind a microphone with this little robot camera thing. For those who watch the show or know the character, so you could interact and they gave me like this little Tick pen that came in like a tin. It's supposed to be like Spam, but they call it faux ham. So that was cute. I mean, being part of the press, I was able to skip the line. I got the email, so that was kind of awesome. All right, and then I think the only other big thing on Friday was the Doomsday Clock panel. For those those who you don't have to be a fan of DC Comics, but the Watchmen, the Watchmen movie that came out a couple of years ago based on a popular comic, is going to cross over with basically the Justice League. Now the Watchmen, for those who kind of follow it, took place in like 1988, 1989, and now what happens is Jeff Johns is doing the story. Now Jeff Johns has written a lot of big DC story arcs. He did the 52. He did Darkest Night. What's the one? I think he wrote Flashpoint also.
He might have,
if I'm not mistaken. So Jeff Johns is a fucking brilliant genius guy. So he's doing a crossover where this whole thing takes place around the time of the death of Superman, and the death of Superman was like 1992. So it's only a few years after the Watchmen, and then to the death of Superman. And it's sort of all the repercussions when the death at the end of the Watchmen is supposed to be like all the whole craziness was supposed to bring world peace. Here we are a few years later. No, we're not at world peace. Ozymandias didn't fucking complete his mission. So if anyone's gonna do it, Jeff Johns is the person. I know Alan Moore is original, and Alan Moore has like separated himself and he doesn't want to be involved with the Watchmen. He was, after League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, he doesn't want his name on anything, but Alan Moore wrote, V for Vendetta, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Watchmen. So if anyone's going to handle it, I think Jeff Johns is going to do a good job. They gave us these little 6-page comic books. I actually recorded the audio of him kind of like talking about each panel. So I'll release that eventually on YouTube. So there's then I think the funny thing is at the end of the session, they were giving away buttons, and so I go to meet up. Did I meet up with you? No, not yet. Or
no, we were at the same panel.
Oh, you were at the panel with me. Okay, so then we met up with my friend Louis, the Zombie Mario, my boy Louis. So the panel's over and people are getting out, and we gave out these really fucking cool Doomsday Clock buttons where it was the Doomsday Clock from Watchmen, but except the midnight was the Superman logo. So there are people, and people are leaving the arena. And a lot of people had left by the time. And I said, I'm going to go back and I'm going to get some. And so once again, I got to love the Jacob Javits employees because the girl's like, I don't care. Take whatever you like. They fucking grab like hands. And I was wearing like cargo shorts. So I had extra pockets and I think I have like 30 of those buttons. so if anybody, I got them for free. But if anyone wants to negotiate a price for one of it's a really cool fucking enamel button.
You see my face. If you're watching this live right now, you can see my face.
Or if you're willing to trade something, if you have something cool and nerdy, I'll be willing to fucking trade something with you.
See, I'm the type of guy that goes, okay, I'm going to take one of everything, I'm fine. This guy over here is like, fuck that, I'm taking 50 of these.
Because the crowd had let out. it's not like I'm taking from people in the crowd that weren't gonna like get him.
That's true.
You know, there was still a bunch of them still on the table, so I'm like.
Well, then there was also the sci-fi bags. He has like 50 of those.
Yeah, that's the thing. I stole a bunch of. That's stole. It's not stealing if they were giving them away. I got a bunch of sci-fi bags. I got a bunch of buttons. But you know, thank you to the Javits employees who just don't give a fuck and
His
allowed me
Chris
to
Malone.
take.
Do not ever give him more than one.
Give me more stuff
ever again.
Okay, and then also on Friday we were trying to set up the interview with Adam Geddes, professional football player for the Giants. Oh, and Danny. Oh, I guess Danny's watching. Danny says he loved my. I sent one to Dan. Danny's actually in Scotland, and I sent the button to him. I sent it to Scotland. He's
a lot of fucking money.
He's a DC guy. You know, I mean, you know, he collects DC. You know, action figures.
I mean, you're a good guy
like
for doing that, but holy shit, that's got to be a lot of money to send.
Yeah, it's all right. You know, it's you know, he's the guy that sent me the He sent me the Scottish soda, the Iron Brew.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So he spent money also. So we were stalking Adam Geddes on the floor because we thought we were going to get the interview that day, but I guess our communication lines got confused.
No, Funimation. So Adam was like, "Oh yeah, we'll just do it Friday." And real quick story, he contacted me. I didn't contact him because I had put up on my personal Twitter. I said, So who's going to New York Comic Con? And I retweeted it on Toonami News. And then I'm at work, and all of a sudden I see this verified account like tweets me. I'm like, what? Who the fuck is this? And like, it's Adam Geddes. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going. I'm like, oh, so interview? He's like, oh fuck yeah, let's do that. So we were supposed to do it Friday, which we ended up doing most of ours on Saturday. And all of a sudden, like, Funimation has him. I'm like, what's going on? So we're following Funimation as they're filming him going around the con.
Yeah, so we can't knock, you know, especially if Funimation's been so good to us.
Yeah.
So but they got him, like, you know, he was standing. But the funny thing is, even though it was Funimation, he went over to the Viz area, and it was like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. He went to the Namco Bandai booth. And that was, once again, with the current events that had happened in Vegas. And I think the other one that had to do with the guy who wanted to kill Jason David Frank. There was the Namco Bandai booth had a thing where they can show you powering up like they do in Dragon Ball Z, you know, Kamehameha, whatever.
Yeah.
And so they were saying, okay, you can scream, but you can't shriek. And I guess they're saying, like, it's okay to scream because, you know, that's what you do when you power up. But if you shriek, because I guess they were worried that if they were going to have people constantly shrieking, and especially that everyone's on edge after fucking Vegas, they didn't want people shrieking. So there's like, you can scream, but you can't shriek, which was an interesting combination, but hey. So we follow, and so we saw Adam Geddes do that, the whole charging up like Dragon Ball, going to the Viz panel, the Viz booth, you know, and then the funny thing is he was in cosplay. He was dressed up as like Legends of the Hidden Temple, which shows you the guy is so. I want to fucking hang out with Adam Geddes. Like, he seems like the kind of guy, like, I just want to fucking just hang out on the couch and watch fucking cartoons, watch anime with him, because he seems like such a fucking cool, chill, fucking awesome dude.
Which, by the way, it is up on the Toonami Faithful YouTube channel, the interview that me and Chris did. That is currently up. William Shatner is up as of today, so if you're watching on the live stream, go watch those.
Yeah, Adam Geddes is on the Toonami Faithful YouTube page, and the William Shatner's on the Geeky Inc.
Toonami, the YouTube for Toonami is youtube.com/Toonami Faithful channel. The one with William Shatner is on the Geeky channel. That's youtube.com/Geeky videos.
Oh, okay. And you could just put those in the search engine, I guess. All right, so we stalked Adam Geddes on Friday, but we set up the interview for Saturday. Saturday was Dragon Ball Super panel, which we would mention. And, of course, those who follow Funimation online, one of the co-hosts of the Funimation YouTube show Double Talk, Dubble, Lauren Moore, was there looking as fine as always. You know, she doesn't know she's my girlfriend, but she's my girlfriend. So that was at the panel.
Like, literally, like, this girl. Now, first of all, have I ever seen her in person? No, I think this was the first time I saw her in person. She's I'm gonna personally admit to this. She is a fucking fine ass woman. Okay, I can understand why Funimation puts her in videos because guys are probably like, whatever you want to say. If you want me to buy something, I'm gonna buy it. Because guess what? That's a genius fucking move right there.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be sexist here. I'm being honest. That's how a lot of companies do things these days.
Yeah, they hire.
It's a smart move, and I'm sure she's not. They didn't hire her because she's hot. They probably hired her because she has the skills. to do
She
this.
knows her stuff also.
Right. But the funny part is every time she walks by, and she walked by a couple times because they were taking pictures of the panel and everything. Chris is like literally like there's like a waterfall of drool coming out of his mouth, and I'm like, Chris, don't say anything, please. Don't say anything, please. We had Saturday was really good. Do we have a Warner? No, the Warner Brothers. We actually didn't have a Warner Brothers interview that day. We had an interview.
Well, we did the Dragon Ball Super interviews that day with Monica Rial, who plays Blanca? Bulma.
Shows you what you know.
Shows what I know. Sean Schimmel.
Goku.
And, the funny thing is, and I won't get into detail because I'm not going to spread his business, but he showed up pissed off. He was upset about something. He kind of explained it to me. And the funny thing, he was mad. And he was like, sorry guys, there's nothing to do with you, but fucking da-da-da-da-da. He was mad. But by the time the interview was over, he had basically told me, he had told me why he was upset, and I'm not going to reveal it, but the fact that, Danny goes, what is Toonami? I was told it's a TV station. With Toonami, here in the States, I guess, there's Cartoon Network, which is, the Cartoon Network is the main station. At nights, they have the Adult Swim, cartoons, which,
On Saturdays, Toonami has Adult Swim has a block of programming. It's mostly anime called Toonami.
Yeah, so on Saturday nights, it's their block from like 11 p.m. to 4 a.m.
Over in the UK. Is it UK? Ireland, UK?
Scotland.
So,
don't get those confused.
It's all the same.
It's all the same. That's like,
it's on the same island. Shut the hell up.
It's like Canadians and Americans. They're all the same. No, they're not.
So over there, they did have a Toonami UK at one point. I don't remember. I think it was a channel, but this was years and years and years ago. Probably what you'll end up seeing at some point is, and it's kind of spread from Toonami Asia. They're going to be doing. They have a Toonami channel that plays a bunch of, ironically, a lot of DC shows, animated shows. Some of the Marvel are on there. Megas XLR. Fucking assholes.
He's saying fucking assholes only because he wants them to play it in the States, not the guys from Megas XLR.
No. We had a lot of. It may show up in the UK, and I'm sure it will. I can't see why it wouldn't. But getting back to what we were saying, the panel, the interview that we did was great. Ian and Chris kind of connected on a personal level.
Oh yeah, so Ian Sinclair, who does the voice of Dandy from Space Dandy, and what's his name? Himis? What the fuck? Wiz. Well, Wheeze.
Himis?
Himis? I don't know what
the fuck.
I don't know. Bulma's a real fucking name.
Go to the fucking corner.
Wiz is a real fucking name. But Ian Sinclair, he saw my tattoos and he's like, "Oh, you're into Metallica? That's fucking awesome." And we kind of had like a little 5-minute conversation about heavy metal. And it said Ian Sinclair, and him and I were talking about heavy metal. So when I started doing the interview, I had a fucking brain fart and I called him Ian Scott, which if you flip, Scott Ian is the lead guitarist of Anthrax. And he's like, "That's fucking awesome. You just call me Ian Scott." And I'm like, I was thinking Ian Sinclair, Ian Scott, whatever popped in my head. So, him and I, we kind of bonded over heavy metal. Cool fucking guy. And the voice of fucking Dandy on Space Dandy. I mean, how fucking awesome is that? And then we also interviewed Jason Douglas, who's the voice.
Awesome guy. He's the voice of Beerus. And for those of you that watch Walking Dead.
Yeah, he's Tobin on The Walking Dead. Yeah. So Tobin is Beerus in Dragon Ball Super. All right, so that was pretty awesome. Then we actually did get the Adam Geddes interview. He came up to the press area and we were able to kind of, we kind of cordoned off a little corner and said, "Okay, we're going to stand here and do the interview." And no one messed with us. And it was really quick. And, and then plus, he's doing us a favor by coming out and do the fucking interview. He wants to go out and be on the floor. So I'm like, let's make it quick. He got on the floor.
Really nice guy, too.
Super awesome dude. Yeah. Then we had the panel for Gotham by Gaslight, which for those who don't know the comic is sort of like, what if Batman took place in the late 1800s as opposed to late 1900s, and he's chasing Jack the Ripper, where, I guess, Penny Dreadful or League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, that sort of like era. He's going back and forth from England and Gotham, but it's basically what if Batman existed in the 1890s as opposed to 1990s. And they even said, and what they did is the comic itself is actually kind of short, so they had extended out to a fucking 120-minute movie. So, an hour and 20-minute movie or something like that. So they had to they had to add a lot of stuff. There's going to be a lot of characters from the Batman universe, a lot of people from his rogues gallery and stuff like that are going to be kind of brought in. And they would let us, and at the panel we watched a little section where there were like three little like street urchins, three little homeless kids that are pickpockets and stuff, and where the kids' names are Dick, Jason, and basically the three Robins, Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, and whatever. So little things like that. Like they weren't in the original comic, but they're going to bring other characters from the Batman universe in, what if they existed in the 1890s. So that comes out next year, but they're working on it now, and they showed that clip. So, once again, Bruce Timm and Jim Krieg were there, but we already spoke to them. So then it was Sam Liu, the director who's directed a bunch of the DC animated movies. Then later on, there was the Tick interviews. So once again, anyone who follows me on Facebook, I said I watched the Tick Amazon Prime series. It is fucking awesome. It is very funny. Unfortunately, due to fucking technical difficulties, my interviews with Peter Serafinowicz, for anyone who's ever seen the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, what a bunch of a-holes, which was actually part of our intro for a while. That interview, the video is beautiful. The audio got fucked up. And then my interview with Jackie Earl Haley, who played Rorschach in Watchmen. He's the Terror in the Tick. And, he played when they did the reboot of Friday the 13th. He was Freddy Krueger. The audio for that once again got fucked up. So those are like two of like would have been really good interviews. The Peter Serafinowicz one in particular, because the joke was he's much taller than I am, right? And as we're doing the interview, he's slowly like doing like a split or something. So he's slowly getting to my height while I'm trying to interview him, and he doesn't want me to mention it. So it was kind of funny. I'm gonna do something with the video, even though maybe I'll do a commentary or something, because I want people to see that, because that's fucking funny. And then Jackie Earl Haley was just cool as fuck. And once again, the audio was fucked up. Part of that also, we got a chance to interview Griffin Newman, who plays Arthur on the show, the guy in the white suit. Then we also interviewed Valerie Curry, who plays his sister Dot. Interviewed Michael Cerveris, who in the Amazon Prime show, in the Tick show, he plays Ramses. But I think for nerd fans, he's better known as the Observer from Fringe, and I loved Fringe. I thought Fringe was such a great show. So, I didn't, because when he plays Ramses, he has eyebrows, he has makeup, he has a goatee. I didn't realize they were the same actor, and I'm like, you were in Fringe, weren't you? And he goes, yeah, because in the show he had shaved his head and well, even though his eyebrows are growing back, they weren't as thick as, but I was like, you're the fucking Observer. Then the coolest thing, and unfortunately he got pulled away, was we almost got an interview with Ben Edlund. And Ben Edlund is the creator of the Tick, the comic book, the original cartoon, the Patrick Warburton live action series. He's writing episodes. So we almost got an interview. Tim Drake. Okay, thanks, Daddy. Because I was mentioning the Robins. Tim Drake, Jason Todd, Dick Grayson. So Ben Edlund, because they were trying to pull him away, and I'm like, we'd like to do an interview, and he came over, and he was just about to get interviewed, and they're like, oh no, he has to come. So, but I don't think he was there to give interviews. But I asked him for one, and he almost gave us one, but then they pulled him away. But so fucking points to fucking Ben Edlund, because he would have done an interview even though he wasn't there to do interviews. Yeah. Then we went to the Titmouse panel with Chris Pernosky, the head of Titmouse, which you've had him on the Toonami Faithful and as audio, but now we got a chance to interview him in person.
It was a very short interview.
Yeah, and he was basically he was there to promote the show Big Mouth, which is co-created by Nick Kroll and Andrew Goldberg. It's on Netflix right now. It's about kids, and it's like it's very adult humor, even though the show is starring kids.
There's an indication that they may end up there. He didn't say anything, but he gave me the indication, and I'm sure he gave you the indication that they're working on something with Toonami. So
yeah, we were trying to see what details we can glom out of him. But super big thanks to Chris Pernosky. There was an artist there, Anthony Lioi. It's kind of hard. I don't know, Lioi. He was doing these hand-drawn pictures that they were giving out to the crowd. So I actually stole one because only if you asked a question were you supposed to get one, but I went and I just grabbed the picture anyway. So I have a genuine Anthony Lioi picture, but it's promoting Big Mouth. He was drawing characters from there. Then Paul went his own way. I went to go interview the rap group Twisted. And for those who don't remember or don't know them, they were kind of Insane Clown Posse's proteges. Now the funny thing is they showed up and I'm there. Now you couldn't record, and Matt wasn't there to record. So I had my friend Louis, the Zombie Mario, be the cameraman. So I'm kind of, and I told him, I thought maybe I made it clear. I said, this is I'm going to ask them the question. Here are the questions I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
Just to sort of just let them know what was going on. Now, we're kind of talking, and then not that they're answering the questions, but so what happens is my friend Louis, Zombie Mario, thinks that we're doing the interview. So he pulls up the camera and he starts filming. So one of the guys from the group, he looks agitated, he starts looking around, he goes, "Yo, not for nothing, this is mad unprofessional." And I'm like, "Whoa, what's going on?" He goes, "We're going to do the interview like this?" And I'm like, "No, I'm letting you know. I don't know why he's recording. I just wanted to, I'm letting you know what the questions I'm going to ask." And then we finally set it up more, set up where you could see the booth in the background, because they're doing Twist is doing a comic book called Haunted Highons, and it's about them becoming paranormal investigators and stuff like that, ghost hunters. So my friend Louis almost got me killed because these guys. When you watch the video, I'll put it out there. This band Twisted. Let me take a shot every time Paul calls. Every time, no, what I'm saying is, when you watch the video, when I put it out, you'll see how much bigger these fucking guys are. I'm 5'8". These guys are like 6 foot each. So, then,
time here.
Yeah, we're going to wrap it up real soon. I got a chance to meet, Blaze also. He's another rapper that hangs out with them. Then we went to a Namco Bandai had me and Matt, and Paul also go to talk about their mobile game, Naruto, Boruto.
They had the one day we had they went to the Naruto one because I wanted to go with the Crunchyroll panel, and then on Sunday we had, I think it was Sunday, yeah, on Sunday we had the one for Sword Art Online, which that mobile game's out, and it was really interesting because I said to them, I'm like, not for nothing, but I noticed that you had Bryce Peppenbrook, who I've interviewed a bunch of times, who's the voice of Kirito on Sword Art Online. You had him do the promo for the app. Mm-hmm. I'm like, have you guys ever considered maybe using some of the English voice actors? And I was like, all of a sudden, they're all just like
they all kind of perked up, because the deal is you have these Japanese businessmen with this little office area that that the Javits Center lets you rent out. So they're showing us the mobile game, but they're there's these 4 Japanese gentlemen sitting in the corner that are sort of just staring at us as we're kind of playing the game, and then you have the game developers in front of us, and it was kind of the same situation both days. And so there was a translator who was the main guy that we had to deal with, and we're talking to him, and he's translating for the game creators and going back. Now everyone kind of speaks English, but not very well, so the translator was doing most of the translating. But when Paul had mentioned about we should probably would you ever think about using voice actors? Because right now in the games, the games only have the Japanese voice actors. And even I said, I was I'm at best a casual fan of anime. I don't watch the dubs, meaning that they're the Japanese voice actors with English subtitles. I watch the subs, where people they get actual American actors or English actors to speak the parts. So, they sort of came to, and the girl was like, and I don't mean to be doing a stereotypical Japanese accent. You think American actors should do voice acting for a game? And we were like, yeah. And the fucking room lit up when a moment ago all these guys were stone faced, and the first one that I did with Matt, all stone faced. They were chatting back and forth, and so if some voice actors get some work out of this, they owe us a cut. You know.
Oh no, I'm gonna harass Michelle. I'm gonna harass Michelle Ruff and be like, by the way, if you put the voice in that mobile game, you owe me.
It was a couple bucks. So with that, they kind of they had given us a $25 gift card. I mean, you know, not to influence our writing, because we're eventually going to put out an article about the games.
Yeah, it's in the process.
Yeah, but they gave us a nice little goodie bag, a little phone charger. That was pretty awesome. And I think we're gonna talk about Sunday. I will just do all the outro stuff. I'll record it later. You know, the stuff like that. Okay, so on Sunday, the biggest day, and save the best for last. Okay, there was the Batman versus Two-Face press panel, and you know, okay, first amongst other things, you know, we got a chance to meet Rick Morales, the director, Michael Jelenic, who was a writer, and if for those of you like, why does that name kind of sound familiar? If you ever watched Teen Titans Go, like the very last name that comes up on the screen, like right when each episode starts, as Michael Jelenic. So I'm like, oh, Michael Jelenic, like from Teen Titans Go, and I swear to God, hand to God, his first reaction is, oh, you hate them too? I guess he gets a lot of shit about it. I mean, I guess if you go online, you go on YouTube, there's a lot of people bashing Teen Titans Go because of original Teen Titans and how much fucking Cartoon Network gives it. And it goes, oh, you hate it too? That was his first reaction, hand to fucking God. And I said, look, man, I said, no, I like it. I said, my daughter's name is Raven, for Christ's sake. You know, I like Teen Titans Go for what it is. I mean, I don't think it's not his fault. Cartoon Network plays it all fucking weekend, every weekend. But I guess the guy has dealt with so much backlash. I almost felt bad. So then we got a chance to meet Burt Ward, because it was Batman versus Two-Face, which is the original Adam West Batman. They brought back Adam West before he passed away. It was the last project. And Burt Ward. So about a year ago, they did a movie called, Return of the Cape Crusaders, and it was in the style of Batman 66. Now they're doing a part 2. Which is Batman versus Two-Face, because they never had Two-Face in the original 66 series, and they got William Shatner to do the voice of Two-Face. And if you look at the Harvey Dent half of Two-Face, and I'm pretty sure we see him as Harvey Dent, it looks like William Shatner did in the 60s, and then then the other half looks like a mangled monster. So if you watch the video online, you have to see William Shatner just giving me so much shit, because I do the long intro. I'm like, this is Geeky Inc. and Tonight Faithful, and it's Two Strangers on Podcast. They're like, my God, that's the longest intro I've ever heard.
Right before we did the interview, we're setting up for the interview. This is a funny story. There's somebody else is interviewing, like, just right off camera.
Well, they're interviewing, the people next to us are interviewing Michael Jelenic.
Yeah.
While we're getting ready to record. There was a guy who was supposed to go after us, but we let him go ahead of us because he was from England, and I felt like they were getting close to the end, and I think they were going to kick us out. So I'm like, let him do the interview first. Let me, and so the guy from England was interviewing him. They're interviewing the next person down is interviewing Michael Jelenic, and
the guy was so loud interviewing him that William Shatner just yells out, "Can you shut the fuck up, please?" Yeah,
he screamed it real loud, which our friend from England has to have that video. That's going to be gold, in the future, just to hear William Shatner scream, "Will you shut the fuck up?" So that was fucking awesome. He busted my chops. I mean, and the whole thing is that we were only allowed to ask 2 questions. If people want to wonder why the interview was so short, they had the press people were like literally right behind our backs and stuff like that, and just off screen, so we couldn't ask anything about Star Trek or anything like that. But I gotta say, for what the interview was, I mean, he busted my fucking chops. But he was busting just a second ago before he spoke to me. He screamed, "Shut the fuck up" to Michael Jelenic. So when you watch the video, he busts my chops. Like, he goes, "You're gonna do a long outro the same way you did a long intro. You're gonna do the whole thing again?" I say, "Yeah," and he just walks off camera. So I mean, but at least like he's in my face, and I'm like, yeah, Two Strangers on One Podcast, and Tsunami Faithful, and Geeky Inc. So that was fucking awesome. I can die now saying that I said the name of my podcast to fucking William Shatner. We did okay. So there was that. We did an interview with Burt Ward, who is the voice of Robin, who played Robin, and we'll be in about 10 minutes. Then we did the Sword Art Online mobile game thing.
Yep.
Pretty much the same deal. That was when we brought up having the voice actors work for the Japanese game. Then we got a chance for the Batman the Animated Series 25th anniversary. We had interviewed both Tara Strong, who plays Harley Quinn. And yes, okay, she did at one point play Batgirl, just for like an episode or two. And all these fucking... and I don't know how these people got into the press room, because like they obviously weren't fans. And not that you have to be a fan of something to be pressed, but like, oh, she's Batgirl. I'm like, fuck being Batgirl. She was Batgirl like in one episode. She was Harley Quinn the rest of the fucking series. And like, And
here's the interesting part, too. They sit there, and I think the press people really, at this point, didn't really care if we would have asked about her playing Ashi in Samurai Jack.
Yeah, because she was dressed up like Ashi.
She was dressed up, yeah. Like, literally, she was cosplaying as Ashi from Samurai Jack, and I'm sitting there going... I looked over at the lady, I was like, can I take a picture, please? Because, like, I don't want... She's like, no, pictures are fine, just don't take a picture with her.
Yeah, as long as you weren't taking a picture with the celebrity, you could take a picture. It's because you were taking a press photo. If you were going to put an article up, you would want a press photo. So you could take a picture of them, just not with them like you're their fucking buddy. Then Kevin Conroy, I was able to...
He died.
What?
You died.
Who died?
You died.
Oh, I died. Oh, I think Kevin Conroy.
Like, what?
Yeah, but yeah, Kevin Conroy. And by the time we got to Kevin Conroy, since he likes to talk a lot, they said we could only ask him one question. So I was only able to ask him one question. We'll be releasing that video soon. And then once again, just a big shout out to my friends Louis, Zombie Mario, and my other friend Shafayat, who's Lando Calrissian.
So, if you can see it, that's the picture I took of her, and it's got like 405 likes on Twitter.
Yeah.
74 retweets.
Oh, because she's a pretty lady.
So yeah, I mean, it was. I was very, very happy with what it was, and we'll probably talk a little bit more on this on a different podcast, just a little bit more. But it was an interesting experience.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up.
That's what she said.
I'll splice in the whole breakdown. But please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net, where you can find all things show related. First and foremost, you can find links to our iTunes page. If you have an iPhone, an iPad, or iPod, you can download episodes onto your iPhone, iPad, or iPod. If you don't have an iPhone, an iPad, or iPod, you can download us on the Stitcher app, or you can download us on the Stitcher app. It's the app that I use to listen to all my podcasts. Chris Hardwick's The Nerdist, Kevin Smith's Smodcast, This American Life, Adam Carolla, Mark Maron, and of course, Paul's other baby, the Toonami Faithful podcast,
which will be well represented as well at Comic-Con.
They're all available on.
I promise.
They're all available on Stitcher app. I mean, we're going there under the We're going there under the umbrella of Toonami Faithful, which
Well, hopefully we're gonna get some big interviews.
But we're trying. We've been trying to get some good interviews. I'll be honest with you. Right now, I'm batting 0 for 0. No, none of the ones. But I've gotten my name on a couple of lists, and if I could just get my name on it, that's all I ask, is to be on a list. Because it is, people put their name on the list, then other people forget about it, or drop out, or do something else, or don't want to do it on a Sunday, and then like, oh, by the way, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sometimes you got to be the last guy at the club.
It's looking like we may stay there until Sunday, come back Sunday night, because Chris here has to work at 3, but I'm going to try to get the day off so that way I can go back and just sleep
and quite frankly, if things work out the way I would like for them to work out, I think it would be our best interview yet.
Does your mom have cable?
Yes.
Does she have Cartoon Network?
Yes, she does. Because my daughter watches
guess what we're watching.
My daughter watches fucking.
Guess what? When we get the fuck home on Saturday night, we're watching.
Motherfucker, when you get the fuck home, you're gonna pass the fuck out.
No,
because you've been at fucking Comic-Con all day.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna record you watching.
I guarantee you're not gonna fucking watch. I'm not saying you're not. I'm not gonna stop you. I'm just saying Comic-Con, and it's already fucking Saturday. Like, you already work Thursday and Friday. Saturday night, you're as soon as you fucking get to the fucking house, you're gonna pass the fuck out. You're not gonna. I'm just saying, as much as I love Comic-Con, it's like running a fucking marathon. But you're done, and you're exhausted. And you feel free to watch Toonami all you like. It ain't gonna fucking happen. I'm telling you that right now.
But I get to hear your mom saw wood, so there we go.
No, well, she'll be like, it's funny when
any of you have never heard that episode of the podcast. You need to hear it.
Listen to
it. It is the most hilarious thing I've ever heard.
Don't Wake Mommy is the name of the episode.
Yes, and like we're sitting here recording a podcast, and all of a sudden in the background I hear, and Chris is in the background of Chris's apartment. I hear, I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Well, in all fairness, it was a smaller apartment, and my mom was probably not even 20 feet away from the mic when she was sleeping and snoring. But so,
which makes me laugh because it's like, how did she sleep through the fact that you were recording a podcast?
My mom was a heavy sleeper.
So let me do Chris's job for him. So you can find us on Facebook.
I was talking about Stitcher, STITCHER. When you're in a Wi-Fi spot, like I usually do, you can download all your episodes, put on Listen Later, available offline, so you don't have to kill the data on your phone. You don't have to kill your battery. Downloading all the episodes from your data, you could use it right on your Wi-Fi. And if you don't want to use Stitcher or iTunes, you can find us on our actual hosting site, SoundCloud. You can find us on the SoundCloud app. Just search for Two Strangers One Podcast. I make sure every episode is available for download. You can check us out there. If you want to support the show, we want your money. We need your money. But if we can't spend a penny, it just takes 2 seconds to share and like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Two Strangers One Podcast, all spelled out. Once again, just share and like us. Everyone and their fucking mother has a Facebook page. If you want to help us out, get our message out there, because I can spam people and Paul can spam people, but no one's really going to pay attention unless you say, "Hey, check these guys out." I mean, we could sit here saying, "Oh, we're great, we're wonderful." You have to fucking, if you say, "Listen to these guys," listen, I jerk off all the time. If you say, "Listen to these guys, they're funny," it would definitely help the show. Word of mouth.
Boy, does he like to use his mouth.
Okay, let me see what else. You can write to us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. Once again, that's all spelled out, twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. We're also available on Stitcher. On Twitter at the Twitter, with the Twitter handle at Stranger Podcast. But we don't really use Twitter.
No, Chris doesn't use Twitter, and he's going to have to give me the password after the thing. Especially with Comic-Con, because we will be using it, whether he fucking likes it.
And
I'm Batman, by the way. And I think that's it. Or did Oscar actually write us back?
No, this is a whole other...
Whole other what?
This is from like July. This is like from June.
Oh.
Alright, sorry. Christy Pitts. Verizon launched... Okay, this is from a Guo Pei Te. Verizon just launched a podcast. Christy Pitts hosts their podcast. And I thought she would make a really good guest for Two Strangers on Podcast. Will you be interested in a liaison? That sounds like a liaison.
Yeah, it just sounds like it's fake. But anyways,
yeah, that's a bogus email. That's why I probably looked at it and said, "Oh, that looks like shit." That's why. So once again, you can write us at twostrangersonepodcast.com. And I can't think of anything else. I acquiesce the floor to you, sir.
About time. So you can find me on Twitter at Paul Pascrillo. You can email me. It's paulpascrillo@toonamifaithful.com. You can also ask me questions. It's ask.fm/Paul Pascrillo. And you can obviously listen to me on my other podcast, the Toonami Faithful Podcast. We will be going to New York Comic Con. We will be trying to do I have some business that I have to handle anyways on top of all the other things that we're trying to do. So thankfully, we'll get all that done too as well. So that's about it.
All right. Well, we certainly hope you enjoyed it and had as much fun listening as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Bye. You should be fapping. My face. Sorry, Jen. We didn't mean to start early.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne? Smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking, are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I got to meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
Yeah, it
man.
is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. It's just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it, that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne right now.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonepodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.